Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the Survivor Attack, where we dive into some of the most unbelievable and dramatic survival stories ever told. You know, those stories that make you gasp and say, "What? Yeah, those ones. We've got them all right here." These tales will leave you on the edge of your seat, showcasing the resilience and strength of the human spirit. We're talking about ordinary people facing extraordinary circumstances, and somehow, against all odds, they make it through. Get ready to be amazed, inspired, and maybe even a little bit terrified. You never know what life's gonna throw at you. Okay folks, buckle up for this one. This is the story of two people just enjoying their iced lattes when BAM! Disaster strikes. They both get metal straws stuck in their mouths. I know, right? You're probably thinking, how on earth does that even happen? Well, picture this. They're both sipping away, lost in conversation, when suddenly, they both take a big gulp at the exact same time. And just their luck, the straws slip. And before they know it, they're both in a whole heap of trouble. Now you might be thinking, Ellen, this doesn't sound that bad. But trust me folks, getting a metal straw stuck in your mouth is no laughing matter. It's painful, it's scary, and it can be downright dangerous. These two poor souls, they were in a state of panic. They tried everything to get those straws out. They pulled, they twisted, they even tried using their tongues to dislodge them. But those straws were stuck fast. Can you imagine the thoughts racing through their minds? The fear, the desperation, the sheer absurdity of the situation. It's enough to make your head spin. But amidst the chaos, something remarkable happened. They found strength in each other. They realized that panicking wasn't going to help, so they took a deep breath, calmed themselves down, and started thinking rationally. They knew they needed to get to a hospital and fast. So they hopped in the car, metal straws still firmly lodged in their mouths, and raced to the nearest emergency room. Can you imagine the looks they got from other drivers? It must have been a sight to behold. Thankfully, the doctors were able to remove the straws safely, and both individuals made a full recovery. But you can bet they'll never look at a metal straw the same way again. This next story is not for the faint of heart, folks. It's a story of unimaginable pain, incredible courage, and the unbreakable spirit of one remarkable woman. Our story begins with a woman who loved to hike. Every weekend you could find her out on the trails exploring the great outdoors, but one fateful day, her life changed forever. While hiking in a remote area, she slipped and fell down a steep embankment. The fall was brutal, and she sustained severe injuries to both of her feet. She was stranded for days, alone and in excruciating pain. Can you imagine the fear, the despair, the sheer will to survive that must have coursed through her veins? It's almost unimaginable. But somehow, she held on. She knew that her only chance of survival was to get help. So, with grit and determination that defied all odds, she started to crawl. Inch by agonizing inch, she dragged herself across the rugged terrain, her broken body screaming in protest. Days turned into nights as she battled exhaustion, dehydration, and the ever-present threat of infection. But she refused to give up. She clung to life with a tenacity that was nothing short of awe-inspiring. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, she was spotted by a rescue helicopter. They airlifted her to the nearest hospital, where doctors worked tirelessly to save her life. But the damage was extensive. Despite their best efforts, they were unable to save her feet. Both had to be amputated. It was a devastating blow, but even in the face of such adversity, her spirit remained unbroken. She was fitted with prosthetic legs and began the long and arduous journey of rehabilitation. It was a grueling process, filled with setbacks and challenges, but she met each obstacle head-on, her determination fueled by an unyielding thirst for life. Today she is not only walking again, but she's also hiking. That's right folks, she's back out on those trails, proving to the world that nothing can hold her back. Her story is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, hope can still bloom. Now I know what you're thinking. Ellen, a decapitation? On Disney Plus? That's a little dark, don't you think? And you're not wrong, it's definitely not your typical Disney fare. But trust me on this one, folks. This story is truly unbelievable. It all started with a magician. Now I'm not talking about your average birthday party magician pulling rabbits out of hats. This guy was the real deal. He could make elephants disappear, saw people in half, and even walk through walls. You name it, he could do it. So for his grand finale, he decided to do something truly spectacular. He was going to decapitate himself, live on stage in front of thousands of people. Now I know what you're thinking. That's impossible. No one can survive that. And you're right, no one can survive that, except for this guy apparently. The night of the show, the crowd was buzzing with anticipation. They'd heard the rumors, seen the posters, and they couldn't wait to witness this death-defying feat with their own eyes. The lights dimmed, the music swelled, and the magician took to the stage. He went through his usual repertoire of tricks, each one more impressive than the last. The audience was on the edge of their seats, their eyes glued to his every move. And then, it was time for the grand finale. A hush fell over the crowd as the magician's assistant brought out a guillotine. Yes, you heard that right. A guillotine. The audience gasped, some even covered their eyes, but no one dared to look away. The magician climbed into the contraption, his head resting on the wooden platform. He gave the audience one last mischievous grin, and then with a swift movement the blade came crashing down. The crowd went wild. Some screamed, some fainted, and some just sat there in stunned silence. But amidst the chaos, something miraculous happened. The magician's head, which should have been rolling across the stage, was still attached to his body. He stood up, took a bow, and the crowd erupted in thunderous applause. It was a miracle, or was it? To this day no one knows how he did it. Some say it was a trick of the light, others claim it was all an illusion. But one thing's for sure, that magician cheated death that night. Okay, this next story is a little creepy-crawly, so if you're squeamish about bugs, you might want to fast forward a bit. This is the story of Jenny Langston, a perfectly ordinary woman who experienced something truly extraordinary. Picture this. It's a beautiful summer day, birds are singing, the sun is shining, and Jenny is strolling down the street, lost in her own little world. Little did she know, danger was lurking just around the corner. As she's walking, she feels a strange sensation in her ear. It's like a tiny tickle or maybe a little itch. She tries to ignore it, but it just won't go away. It's driving her crazy. So, she does what any normal person would do in this situation. She sticks her finger in her ear to try and dislodge whatever's bugging her, pun intended. But to her horror, she feels something move, something alive. She races to the nearest mirror and peers inside her ear. And there, to her absolute horror, she sees it, a bug. But not just any bug, folks. This thing was huge. It was like something out of a horror movie with long, spindly legs and beady little eyes. Now I don't know about you, but I'm getting the heebie-jeebies just thinking about it. Poor Jenny, she was terrified. She tried everything to get that bug out of her ear. She shook her head, she jumped up and down, she even tried pouring water in there. But that bug, it was determined to stay put. Finally, in desperation, she rushes to the emergency room. Now I'm sure the doctors and nurses have seen it all, but I bet even they were surprised to see a giant bug crawling around inside Jenny's ear canal. They managed to extract the bug safely, and Jenny made a full recovery. But you can bet she'll never look at a summer stroll the same way again. And from that day forward, she vowed to always wear earplugs when she's out and about. You can never be too careful, folks. This last story is a little different, folks. It's not about a near-death experience or a freak accident or even a creepy-crawly critter, it's about a pair of shoes. Yes, you heard that right. Shoes. But these aren't just any shoes. These shoes have a story to tell. Imagine, if you will, a pair of muddy leather shoes sitting on a shelf in a dusty old antique shop. They've seen better days, that's for sure. The leather is cracked and faded, the laces are frayed, and they're caked in mud. But if those shoes could talk, oh, the stories they could tell. You see, these aren't just any old shoes. These shoes belong to a hero, a soldier who fought bravely in a far-off land. They carried him through thick and thin, over mountains and across rivers. They were there for him every step of the way. They saw the horrors of war, the camaraderie of brotherhood, and the triumph of victory. They felt the sting of defeat, the pain of loss, and the joy of homecoming. They were more than just shoes. They were a symbol of courage, resilience, and the indomitable spirit of those who served. Now, they sit on that shelf, silent witnesses to history, but their story lives on, in the scuffs on their soles, the wrinkles in their leather, and the mud caked on their sides. They are a reminder that even the smallest, most ordinary objects can hold extraordinary stories. So the next time you see a pair of old shoes, take a moment to appreciate the journey they've been on. You never know, they might just have a tale or two to tell. Wow, what a ride, right? We've heard stories of freak accidents, medical marvels, and even a pair of shoes with more stories than a library. These stories remind us of the incredible strength and resilience within us all. We've laughed, we've cried, We've probably squirmed in our seats a few times, but most importantly, we've been reminded that even in the face of adversity, the human spirit can overcome anything. So, the next time you're feeling down, remember these stories. Remember the courage, the determination, and the unwavering will to survive. Stay tuned for more unbelievable tales of survival, only on Disney+. And remember, always be kind to one another, wear your helmets, and for goodness sake, watch out for those metal straws. Thank you for watching The Survivor Attack.